Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. I'm getting really sick of getting caught up in the anti-Israel, pro-Hamas protests in New York City. It happened in December. It happened just the other day. I was moving a family member out of their dorm at the new school, and they're protesting at the new school on both sides of the street, blocking entrance to an admissions building. So, prospective students, I guess, would see that and be like, oh, hell no, I'm not going here. And it's like, new school, not known for being the bastion of conservatism in New York. Pretty liberal place, but of course, they're just these stinky, weirdo, misshapen, misfit protesters who have nothing better to do, who've essentially been rejected from every other avenue in society. Normally, I like to party with those people, but they are, by and large, dumb and now exceedingly anti Semitic. And they're asking for the destruction of Israel, but they don't have any relocation plans for the millions of Jews who are living there. I think that's odd. And when they're chanting in there with their neat little bucket drum for Intifada, you have to wonder, like, do they know what they're talking about? Is this a known quantity to them? And they're ruining graduations everywhere. They don't have the right to do that. And all they're doing pretty much for everyone is hardening their support for Jewish people and what's going on in Israel. Maybe not politically, but certainly culturally and emotionally. No one's looking at this going, yeah, you know what? I'm on the side of these guys. These are not anti-war protesters. These are pro-war genocidalists. And all they want to do is hurt people. And they're begging for more war in every way possible. And then they were saying things like divest, yeah. But they're ruining graduations. Graduations are being canceled. Graduations are being hijacked, whether it's Jerry Seinfeld speaking at Duke, and he had a good graduation speech, and especially the people who walked out in protests because he happens to be a Jewish comedian who has spoken out in support of Israel. They tried to hijack his commencement speech. And he was saying, do the hard work, the things that are most valuable in life, exercise, relationships, and work. They can be difficult. And that's where work is required. It was really solid advice from someone who is self-made and a cultural institution and has made people laugh, has made people happy for decades, and also has sort of a poignant philosophical lens through which he sees the world, particularly American culture. So he might be someone worth listening to if these people want to be successful at anything other than professional victimhood and, being the stars of something that is not necessarily only about them. And I feel really bad for some of these students whose graduations, commencement ceremonies have been canceled from east to west. I was talking to a coworker. His daughter is in the UC system. He doesn't know if she's going to have a graduation ceremony at the end of June because this is what schools are afraid of. And they're operating from a place of fear. They're appeasing these groups and instead of telling them STFU, which they should have from the beginning. Yes, you have the right to protest. You do not have the right to irrationally hijack every single situation in a look at me display, even when what you want people to look at, it's essentially terrorist talking points. So they should have sat down. They should have listened to Jerry Seinfeld. They're not doing anything at all to change opinion or move the needle. They're just looking for more excuses for these idiotic displays. And I do feel really bad for the graduating class of 2024 because they're the ones, these are COVID seniors. They're the ones in high school who didn't have prom. They didn't have some of these important milestones in their adolescence because they were robbed of that by other irrational people in government who shut everything down. And they knew it was safe for kids to go to school. They knew it was safe for kids to walk across the commencement stage. They knew it was unsafe for the immunocompromised and older people. Andrew Cuomo still shoved sick COVID patients into nursing homes and forced nursing homes to take them on, and people died. So we knew who the sick and vulnerable were. We knew who the healthy people were who were not the ones contracting or getting people sick with the virus, but still their lives were ruined. A lot of people haven't recovered, and now they have to go through this on college campuses. There's a special place in hell. And if you are one of the people, and I've spoken about this in the past, if you are one of the people who has walked off, who has protested, who has been violent, who has bullied your fellow Jewish students, you'll never be employed. And there are ways of finding out exactly what you've done. And it doesn't require the NSA. You all are dumb enough to put your stuff on social media. And I can't wait till it comes back and bite you in the ass.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
Speaking of someone who's an ass, Tom Brady went and complained about the roast, saying, oh, it made me a bad parent. I never would do it again. I got to be a good parent going forward. Tom, take your pretty head out of your ass and go watch a couple of roasts before you agree to be roasted, because you also are a cultural institution, and there is nothing more satisfying than seeing people make fun of the entire life of a guy whose life has been completely charmed from the time he was in utero to now. It's like, if he's not a billionaire, he will be within a few years if he continues to make smart branding and marketing decisions and, solid partnerships. He's beautiful. He's talented, arguably the best quarterback to have ever played the game. And then, of course, he married his Nazi model wife. Nikki Glazer had a really funny joke about that. She said, Tom Brady, the greatest of all times, won 7 rings. Well, now it's 8 since Giselle gave hers back. And then she said the dumbest choice, Nikki Glazer, one of the roasters, said this about Tom Brady. One of the dumbest choices he made, other than agreeing to do the roast, was saying, hey, babe, why don't you try jujitsu? Because obviously Giselle, very soon after she was divorced, started dating her jujitsu instructor. How's that going? So she obviously called Tom and gave him a piece of her German mind that curiously settled in South America. It's so weird. Who else did that? What was that after? Was it World War One? No. That's right. It was after World War II. A lot of people settled in South America because of the extradition treaties or lack thereof. Fun fact: you can take the Nazi out of Germany. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. So he has nothing to whine about. And, maybe we coddle our kids too much. Maybe we try and protect them from too much. And he's like, oh, I love when people make fun of me. Obviously, you don't. You don't have a sense of humor, or you're too dumb to know what's happening. Therefore, I don't believe that you are naive. I think there's more incompetence than naivete. And he even said that, during Deflategate, all he was doing was watching Premier League soccer and comedy. So did that not include a roast or two? These things are legendary, and they should be, and people should make fun of Tom Brady now more so than ever. And I don't care about his dumb ex-wife who has a stick so far up her Aryan ass that she won't allow people to make jokes. They weren't targeting their kids. It's like, of course, there are some peripheral jokes that are made. Baby, it's all fair game. Ask any comic with children, and they'll tell you that, yeah, they let their kids know that sometimes they say really inappropriate things, and then they explain to them how the world works and how we have to make fun of things and point out the absurdities if we're going to survive and not fall into a deep collective depression. That's all we're trying to do here. Tom Brady is the one trying to stop you. So maybe he's the one who's trying to wreck the world. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app. Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.